Hello, hello. Thank you for coming back to my channel, or if this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Jennifer, and this is Jen the Bookworm. And today I'm bringing you my very first attempt at a book vlog. I really wanted to do something special for my return to reading Stephen King. The last time I attempted to read Stephen King, and I've said this a couple of times, was when I was in high school, but I lied. I'm sorry. I forgot. I did try when I picked up Audibles. One of my very first purchases was the very first Dark Tower book in the series. I hadn't read enough King, I think, to appreciate it. And honestly, I DNF'd it in, I'm not even sure how many paragraphs, when I was like, oh no, I don't think this is for me. Maybe if I read more King, I would be willing to revisit it. I'm not sure. I think I'm a fan of later King more than I'm a fan of earlier King, but I'm getting ahead of myself. This was my return to King, and I really wanted to make it special by making a vlog. I was doing it as a read-along with people from the Grimoire Discord, which I will link below, and I highly encourage that you join. If you want to listen to people's opinions, either ranging from very serious to being kind of goofy, about books of all kinds, if you want to see what people think about your favorite author, if you want to get to know a group of some pretty cool people, I definitely think that you should join this Discord channel. It is a lot of fun, and they do semi-structured read-alongs, and they really make you feel welcoming. If my experience is anything to be modeled off of it, I feel very welcomed by them. So I think you should join if you're interested in that sort of thing. So this is the intro. I've already filmed all the elements to the vlog, and at this point in filming, I have finished the book. But I encourage you to keep watching and see my impressions along the way. This will be a fairly non-spoilery review of the book. I'm mostly giving impressions, what I'm feeling, what I'm liking, but trying to be as vague as I can. However, I have opinions, so I'm going to make I'm going to make a spoiler review of the book as well, so stay tuned for that. So sit back, grab a drink, and check out what I thought of Stephen King's Fairy Tale. Okay, so this is my first check-in on Stephen King's new book, Fairy Tale. I've been reading this since about 1 o'clock in the morning. I slept, but I mean, about 1 o'clock in the morning, I realized I probably have this book. I had bought it on pre-order on Audible, so I probably had it at midnight, but I have a tendency, because in my past I used to work graveyards, and so graveyards, I had a very strict policy that it was not the next day until I had slept. So about 1 o'clock this morning, I was, it was still the 5th as far as I was concerned. But then it occurred to me, actually it's not the 5th, it's the 6th, and I could probably start reading it now. Now, should I have started reading at 1 o'clock in the morning? No, because I got through most of chapter 2, and I just wanted to keep reading. And I am just so impressed with how quick of a read it is. Now, I know, whether you remember me talking about this or not, I have tried to read Stephen King before, but it was in my past. It was when I was a teenager. And Stephen King back then, that's not the Stephen King I'm reading now. I don't know when exactly he switched his format and he started making his books more reasonable length, but I was not prepared for how smooth the book is up till now. Now, right now I'm on chapter 9. Just started chapter 9. So I've read about, I think I've gotten about 6 hours into it, listening by audiobook. I took some notes while I was listening, since I'm sitting at my computer anyway. So the book, I'm not going to give spoilers. I am going to give a synopsis and some brief impressions that I've gotten, but I'm not going to give away anything that's too spoilery, nothing that's going to spoil the book for you. The book is about a boy who is about 17 or so in the book, at least in the main part of it up till now. And he's telling the story. So he's an older person now telling the story from his point of view when he was 17. And it's a very interesting conversational way that he's telling the story. Sometimes he will do a very straightforward foreshadowing, like saying something like, I didn't know about this, but I was going to find out later. Or I didn't find out about this or I wanted to say this, but as it turned out, I didn't have that kind of time, or whatever. I mean, he kind of goes and says, he kind of foreshadows in a very straightforward way, and I like it. I like the style very much. The synopsis of the book is about a boy who helps take care of an elderly neighbor and his dog. And at least that's a very rough synopsis of it. It is supposed to be a return to fantasy for Stephen King. Right now we haven't gotten into any of the fantasy elements. There's hints, but it's not. We're still very firmly planted in the real world. The pacing of the book is very fast. A friend told me that this is now more common for Stephen King, but I didn't know that. But there seem to be like mini chapters within each chapter. So at the beginning of the chapter, he'll basically give you the talking points of this is what I'm going over. And then inside the book, it'll be broken up into little mini chapters. It's kind of like Sanderson does. Brandon Sanderson in the Stormlight Archives, when he goes through a section, he kind of says, these are the characters that I am going to be engaging in this, and it's almost like that. So the pacing is very good. It's a very smooth read. I'm very impressed with the writing and with the story and the characters. You love the characters so right away. It's amazing to me. And I know Stephen King. Stephen King is a well-loved, very prolific author. He's got tons of books. He's got tons of followers. He's got tons of fans. You can't throw a rock without hitting someone who loves Stephen King, in the bookish community anyway. So I get it. I know I'm raving to the choir, but I didn't love his books. But I'd only been exposed to a couple of them in his earlier books. But I loved his characters. I loved his story ideas. I liked his adaptations of his books, where I felt like they maybe cut off the fat and stuff like that, and trimmed it down into something a little more palatable for me. But I am just blown away by this book. I love it so far. Couple things I noticed. There was a part where he references Cujo, which I thought was really meta and very funny. And right before he did it, I was like, will he do it? Will he reference Cujo? And he did, and I just thought that was funny. There's a couple of times when he talks about what this old man reads, and he reads horror, and I wondered if he would throw in, there's some Stephen King books in there. Like, I just wonder if there's Stephen King books on the shelf of any of his characters in his world. That would be very interesting to me. I don't know why, but it's an interesting idea to me. But he never, of course, called out any Stephen King books. There's a lot of reference to Psycho. There's a lot of references in here that, to me, feel a little bit like the kind of references that would be more understandable if this was set in the 80s, but this is set in the like mid 2000s. And I don't know, maybe that's too old a reference for someone who was, you know, a young kid when the references were being made. I don't know, maybe not. I don't know that there are a great many people, teenagers now in the, you know, 2020s, 2022, whatnot, that have read or watched Psycho. It's in our collective pop culture. It's definitely there. It's a part of it, but, you know, I don't know. I don't know how popular it would be. So it feels like maybe a little older a reference for this character. And there's a couple of things that he does. There's a couple of times when he's referring to technology in a way that kind of makes you, it kind of shows his age just a little bit. Now, Stephen King is on Twitter, so you know he knows something about technology, at least something about technology, but he refers to Safari, like nobody uses Safari anymore, man. He calls, you know, he has the kid call YouTube the tube and the internet the net. And I'm not sure. Maybe I'm behind on maybe I'm not cool anymore. It's a possibility. Maybe I don't know the lingo of the kids. I'm 45, it's possible. But also might be possible he doesn't know the lingo of the kids, and it kind of makes him seem dated when he tries to invent kid lingo. I mean, the 17-year-old boy in 2013 or something like that. He's probably not calling it the tube. But it was funny. There's a couple of times when it feels like his technology references are a little dated, but it's still very funny. It's still a very good book. It doesn't throw you out too much, but it does make me laugh a little bit. There is a part where he references, and this is a near direct quote. It doesn't spoil anything. He's talking about a jigsaw puzzle, and he's describing the jigsaw puzzle. And he says, I'm talking about this at more length than it deserves, maybe. And I think that's funny because when he said it, it kind of made me laugh, because that's been my biggest complaint about Stephen King, is that he goes into great detail or talks at length about things that have no bearing on the story at all. And so it was almost like he was checking himself a little bit. Although I didn't think he was getting too wordy at all at that point. I didn't think it was irrelevant. I wasn't like waiting for it to, you know, hurry up, man, get to the point. I wasn't feeling that way at all. So, but it was just kind of funny. It almost felt like he was talking to me. It almost felt like he was saying, you know, to me, maybe I'm slipping back into my old habits or whatever. But anyway, it was just kind of funny. It struck me as funny. So far, so good with this book. I really like the characters. I spent the first couple of chapters like trying not to cry, and I was really not expecting that out of a Stephen King book. And so it's got my emotions wrapped up in it. It's got my interest wrapped up in it. I really just want to read the rest of the day, and that's what I'm going to attempt to do. And I'm also... Okay, so I'm just doing a quick update. Today is September 8th. I didn't do an update yesterday, not because I didn't read. I did read yesterday, but I was so distracted, so many things going on, that I didn't get as much done as I'd hoped. Only a few chapters. So I woke up today with the intent to update. And, I'm sorry if my energy is a little off today. Maybe it's not coming through. I'm a little bit sad today after hearing about Queen Elizabeth dying. She was somebody I looked up to and admired. So I'm kind of sad that she's gone. And I had an episode this morning. Anyway, I got up and I took a shower and decided to come on real quick to update you guys on what I have been up to. As far as the book goes, I'm still very much enjoying it. I am feeling a little bit like it's starting to slow down a little, and which is kind of worrisome. I hope it doesn't stay at the pace that it's at right now. I don't think I'm giving too much away at all, and I apologize if this seems spoilery at all, but I think from the synopsis on the back of the book, it does say that there is synopsis on the back of the book, or just what was going around before the book was even out, that this is a fantasy where there's a portal world. And right now, the main character, Charlie, is in that portal world. And I'm honestly very impressed because, and I'm not going to go into too much detail, so this is real vague, sorry. But there is a lot of books or stories that try to simulate what Stephen King is doing right now with his other world, and it comes across a little cliched, or like it's been done before, or it's been done so many times before that you don't really want to go through another one. But I don't feel that with this. It feels unique enough that I'm intrigued, and I'm enjoying reading about this other place. And but right now, Charlie is in a situation where it's kind of dragging just a little bit. It's not super bad. It's not like, oh, I don't want to read anymore. It's just a little bit of a drag. I'm still very much enjoying the book. I just need to get through more of it. So today my plan is to do a bunch of housework. I have a friend coming over tomorrow so that we can watch Game of Thrones, and in the evening, so I won't be able to read during that time, but I want to get the house straightened up and do some chores, and I'll be able to listen on my audiobook while I'm doing that. Hi, so I have finally finished the book. I say it like that because it feels like forever since I started it. So here's what happened. I fell off on vlogging, and I apologize. Yesterday, well, no, let's go back. Friday, I intended to do a lot more reading, and a lot of things just kind of got in the way on Friday. Saturday, I had set up a reading date with my sister, but we ended up visiting more than reading, and I didn't get as much of it read as I wanted to. But I was going to take, some video. She's got some very pretty dogs, and I was going to take some video of it, and I didn't. I sort of just lost track of what I was doing. And then today, I was for sure going to finish it on Saturday. I said so, and I was going to, and I did not. But today is Sunday, and my daughter's first day of school is tomorrow. So there was a lot of housework. There was a lot of getting things ready. There was, I forgot to pick up milk boxes for her lunches. There was just a lot of stuff that needed to get done. And luckily some of them were chores, so I was able to listen while I was doing that and cooking dinner and stuff like that. And I did finally get it done. But because I was in such a rush, I didn't get more elements for the vlog. So the vlog's going to be like, oh, look how she's got different elements in there. And then it falls away. Sorry. I will get better at the vlogging the more I vlog. So apologies. But I did finish it. I feel like I just read the book version of Full Metal Jacket. And I can't remember if I made this analogy before. And if I did, I'm just going to cut it. But it feels like, for those of you who have watched Full Metal Jacket, the first half of the movie is about some guys who are going through boot camp for the Vietnam War. There is, one guy who is kind of slow and holding everyone back, and he's getting hazed, and he's, getting, befriended finally by the main guy and helped along. But no matter what he does, the drill sergeant still thinks he's, a mess up and is rude and upsetting and whatever. And he ends up, spoilers for a very old movie, he ends up killing himself. And then they're in Vietnam. And the second half of the movie is about their time in Vietnam. It is like two completely different movies for the price of one. And it's jarring. And it's not, you like one movie over the other. I really like the beginning part as ends sadly, but I really like the beginning part in boot camp, but I hated the second part. And I feel like I just read the equivalent of that. I did not hate the second part, but I really, really favored the first part over the second part for sure. There was so many really good elements in the first part. And in the second part I think there were some really good elements in the second part. I did not think that it was necessarily pulled off. It had all the pieces, but maybe they weren't put together correctly. I don't know. It's hard to articulate. So here's what I'm going to do. This is a non-spoiler review to the best of my ability. And I'm going to, after this, film a spoiler review so I can really talk about the parts that I thought maybe could have been put together differently or flavored differently or something like that. I really feel like the ending of the book was like having a spaghetti taco. These are two flavors that don't really go together. And as awesome as spaghetti is and as awesome as tacos are, maybe not together, So anyway, I don't know if that makes any sense. And if you watch the spoiler video, hopefully it'll make more sense. But, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap up with my thoughts on this. And this will be the last bit of what I felt about it and the kind of outro, if you will. I'm going to film an intro to this because I haven't done that yet. I just kind of started on the blog right away. Or vlog. Why do I keep doing that? Started on the vlog right away. So I'm going to film the intro. And then I'm going to do a spoiler review. Just so I can really talk about without having to worry that people are going to not be able to watch all the work I put into this and get some impressions anyway of the story. So I did this as a read along with a bunch of people on the Grimoire Discord, and I was not the only one who felt like it fell off in the middle, and like the second part of the book was so much different than the first part. But there was some, I felt differently about it than some people. But I felt similarly as well. I mean, I did feel like it was, the last part was not as good. I didn't feel like it was terrible. I didn't feel like it was an awful story. I just felt like I wasn't expecting. Here's another food analogy for whatever reason. Have you ever taken a drink of something and you were expecting it to be one thing, but it's something else entirely? And you like both of those things, but you were expecting the one thing. So you take a drink of what you think is going to be Pepsi, but it actually is tea instead. You like tea, you just were expecting Pepsi, so the tea tastes, not good. And I feel like that's kind of how it was. It's not that the tea was bad. It's not that the last half of the book was bad. It wasn't what I was expecting. It wasn't what I thought it would be. It didn't seem to go along with the flavor profile of the first half either. So I do, however, think it was a worthwhile read. And I'm, again, breaking my rule. It's not a very old rule, and I don't know if it's going to last very long if I keep breaking it. But I was not going to do half stars. It's a 3-star, or it's a 4-star, or it's a 5-star, but it's not a 3.5 or whatever. And unfortunately, I think giving this book a 3-star would be kind of a shame, because there were so many great elements of it. I really, really liked so much of it, but giving it a 4-star feels too much. So I think I just have to give it a 3.5 star and be okay with that. I think that's a fair rating for the book. I definitely think it was worth the time if you like King. I think it's a great book. I think the pacing on it's pretty good. It does kind of, towards the end, I think it could be paced a little differently. But I flew through the first chunk of it so quick. You really get invested in the characters right away. And so there's some really great things. So I do think it's worth a look. I hope that people do pick it up and read it. I hope that the reaction of the last part of the book doesn't dissuade people from really picking it up and trying it for themselves, because maybe you will like spaghetti tacos better than other people do. So I definitely hope that you pick it up. I had fun reading it. I had a lot of fun doing the read along. And I got through a Stephen King book in 5 days. Go me. So I'm going to wrap this up here. Thank you very much for coming and taking this journey with me. I appreciate it very much. If you have any vlogging experience, you want to pass them along to me, please feel free to leave me some comments and give me some constructive criticism. I'm always open for constructive criticism. And if you enjoyed what you saw, please consider giving me a like. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. And hopefully I will be bringing you some more content, some more vlogging, because it was a lot of fun to do, and I hope it's a lot of fun for you to watch. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.